Hey guys, what's up? This is the Jacob System Video Podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Joel.
And I'm Megan.
And we are coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio.
Joel has a special drink today. He saw the story. He had to get it.
So this goes way back. Ever since I heard about this, I've always wanted to try it. So I got a Zima. They've apparently re-released this, and if you look in the bottom, you can see Blue Jolly Ranchers. Apparently, Zima is the only malt liquor beverage that adapts the flavor of the candy that you put in it. So I've decided to put Blue Jolly Ranchers.
It tastes
in
like Sprite. It's just like sugar
with
Sprite or blue. It does taste
with
like
a hint of blue.
With a hint of blue because they put a Jolly Rancher in it.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm excited because we're going to be.
I guess I know a way we can connect this. A Jolly Rancher is sort of like a crystal.
Ah!
Aha!
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A candy crystal.
They look kind of gem-like.
Because the movie
crystal-like.
we're going to be watching is The Dark Crystal.
Dance your cares away! Bop, bop. Oh.
That's not Fraggle Rock, but
damn.
it's pretty close.
Damn it.
What year is this from?
1988,
1988.
I think.
And I'll be honest, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I saw it maybe
man.
twice when I was a kid, and it really creeped me out because of the weird Skeksis, the weird vulture people.
Yeah.
Skeksis. Yep, you got it.
Yeah, they were really very odd looking to me.
Yeah. They're like reptilian and
Yeah,
scary.
they were like reptilian
And they make weird noises.
vultures, and they were like, yes.
That's a pretty good.
Pretty good. Huh?
Pretty good impression.
They're
But I
pretty bony yet fat.
Yeah.
Right. They had like huge bodies, but they had little like skinny necks. Like,
Yep.
So I'll tell a story real quick. So back when I was a kid, when you would go into a video store like a Blockbuster, do you guys remember when they would like have a They would have a movie going on all the screens in the movie.
Yeah.
In the movie store, but there would be no sound.
Okay.
Like they would have a movie playing in the store, but there would be no sound.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember going into a movie store, and the first time I saw Kira and Jem, like the puppets, like I remember I didn't know what it was, but I could not like look away. Like there was like something. I'm just saying, like at the time, like it was pretty. Like I think it was pretty groundbreaking as far as like animatronics and puppet work goes, because I remember being just so riveted at the video store, and I didn't end up renting it. I was too much of a wuss. But I remember I could not look away. I think I stared. I think I stared at the screen.
Kid, we're closing. Get out of here.
No, I was like staring at that screen for like 20 minutes before my dad was like, "Come on, Joe! I rented Planes, Trains, and Automobiles." Like, and after that, I was just like, "Man, that looked really interesting."
You know, I honestly have no idea, because like I said, it's been such a long time since I've seen this. I have no idea what the story is. Like you were saying, it's such a visually impactful movie. All I remember from this movie is the look of the characters. And they're like, because someone could be like, what's The Dark Crystal about? I'm like,
I could tell you.
I don't know.
Me too.
It's about, like, puppets.
They're more than puppets.
They're Muppets.
So I'm going to be learning a lot from today's video today. So when was the last time you guys saw this?
There was actually a special last week we saw on TV. It was The Dark Crystal and then The Labyrinth together. So that brought me back.
So you saw it like a week ago.
And we should state that the reason we are kind of reviewing The Dark Crystal is because it's been, as of last month, revealed that Netflix is making a full-blown series out of The Dark Crystal.
Is it going to be like a remake of the movie, or are they just going to...
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
nice.
a prequel.
So it's a prequel, and it's going to be directed by the guy who did The Hulk, and he also did Now You See Me, which is that movie about magicians.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's seen
Well,
that.
we're going to watch some practical effect magic from the late great Jim Henson.
Girlfriend!
In one of his last movies that actually Jim Henson and Frank Oz co-directed. I did not realize they both directed this. So this will be a nice...
And Frank Oz?
And Frank Oz will be directing this movie.
No, you mean and. And.
And Frank Oz.
Not and Frank.
Jim Henson and Frank Oz.
Okay.
Coming up. We're going to watch this. We'll be back. Alright, we're back. We just watched The Dark Crystal. What'd you guys think?
Well, it was very scary. I freaked out a couple times. I may have run and hid during some scary scenes.
I was not scared, but I was imagining what I would have thought as a young child watching
What
it.
7-year-old Jake would be thinking right now?
But I did see it as a kid. But I don't know if I ever even saw the whole movie. I saw like parts of it from like going over to a friend's house and they'd be like watching it, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. I've never really seen that movie, but I kind of was like aware that
That's the test for ADD back in the
Right.
80s. Like, they would, like,
Existed.
if they can watch The Dark Crystal and get through to the ending, then they're fine.
it's not to say that I was never like intrigued by the movie. Like I think I still to this day, think it's amazing visual movie. With
Yeah, technologically it was groundbreaking,
Right.
and Jim Henson has always been a pioneer when it comes to puppet work and animatronics. But you're like, is that the best way to tell a story? That's my beef. Is like, I love The Dark Crystal. I think it's a really cool story, but honestly, I don't know if it was presented in the best light. Like honestly, I think if I were to read the story of The Dark Crystal as a novel, it'd be very different.
I think they worked with the best that they could back
Right.
then.
Was
Yeah.
this movie? I know really nothing about this movie other than just like a lot of the visual stuff. So like, was this movie an original script
Yeah.
from
So
like Jim Henson stuff?
Jim Henson was inspired by the work of Brian Froud. He was an artist, and he was really kind of known for like creating nature and animation that where the land almost came to life,
Okay.
like the mountains and the forests.
So they kind of again, even though
So it started with him being inspired by an artist,
Right.
and wanting to take his art, kind of concept art, and make it
Interesting.
into 3 dimensions.
interesting that it all comes back around to the visual thing, like how they get the story, because the visuals of this thing, it's like
Yeah,
it's very
that-
based on like the looks of the thing,
Yeah,
which is what I don't know, Megan, you have seen this movie a lot.
Yeah.
When you think of it, you think of more of the story, you think of the visuals, like what's more memorable to you?
Well, I'm a visual person in general, so I definitely think more of the visuals. Like, just the scenery made more of an impact on my childhood.
Right.
Both the positive and the negative.
It's an amazing movie. Like the special effects, the visuals. Like you watch the movie and you're just like captivated the whole time. And
Yeah.
like to me, like I love movies for great visuals. I love movies for great stories and stuff. But this is a movie I could like watch and just like I could watch it with the sound off and like have music playing or something like that, and still like, just keep like watching the screen the whole time and being like, wow, this is awesome, and being totally fixated on the visuals.
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
it's definitely a testament to that.
Now, I just know, like, Jim Henson, he was iconic, but I kind of think this was one of his, quote, hiccups. And everyone talks about how, like, Dark Crystal and the movie Labyrinth were such weird and strange movies. And why do you think that is? Is it just because you think they were meant to be scary for children? Because he even states, like, he doesn't think it's healthy for children to never be afraid of anything. But I'm like just fascinated. Like, what do you guys think? Like, Dark Crystal or Labyrinth? If you were to hold the two up, what? I mean, both were visually groundbreaking and both, achieved great deal of success.
The Labyrinth to me is a better movie because I think for some reason I enjoy the mixture of the real actors and the puppets, as opposed to the Dark Crystal, which we were talking about, is
All puppets.
one of the few movies that is like all puppets. Like I was like Megan and I were saying, like this is what other movie can you think of that's all puppets? The only
Right.
thing I could think of was like Team America, like the South Park World Police,
And
movie.
that wasn't even meant to be taken seriously.
Right, but like, what other movie can you think that's like all puppets?
All puppets.
You don't see a human face at all in the movie. Like, there's really, I
No.
can't think of any really.
Not
I'm sure there is.
yeah.
I'm not talking just like old school animation or anything, just like actual.
No, I mean
Puppets,
That's a good point. you're right. There are literally no humans. It's all puppet or animatronics.
Well, there's humans in costumes, but you never see an actual human face. You know,
Sure.
Right.
it's all
Right.
like stuff like that. But I don't know. I've seen both the movies. I watched them both when I was young, but they're not, to me, just personally, like they were never like super big in my childhood. Like I think The Labyrinth and Dark Crystal are both great movies, but I was never like I never had them on VHS as a kid or anything like that. I would see them just randomly, like, you know, when they'd be on TV or something like that. But I remember both of them freaked me out. So I guess Jim Henson does a good job at having creepy puppets in movies.
But
I mean, a lot of our stuff when we were kids were darker.
Yeah.
I feel like than what
sure.
we have today.
yeah,
Like, they remind me in a way of a movie that I saw also back in the day, with Return to Oz, which was you guys both know what I'm talking about.
is that the sequel to Wizard of Oz?
It is the sequel. Is the sequel to Wizard of Oz that came out in 1986 or something.
I've heard that's very creepy.
It's
and
so creepy. It's so messed up, and it's a kids
Is it?
And it's
kids
meant to be
movie.
a kids movie.
Yeah, and there's so many disturbing scenes in that. But it's like the Dark Crystal has very creepy designs, like the Skeksis and those those like things they're walking on. What are those things called?
The
Striders.
crabs.
Those
Oh
are-
no, the ones with like stilts that look
There's like
like
crab. There's like basically if this is Star Wars, their stormtroopers are a bunch of just crabs.
exactly.
Like a bunch of crabs that, like walking around and attack people.
kind of like scarab shelled.
But like looking back, you could
beetles.
tell that there was a person in there basically walking.
Yeah.
Somewhat of. But there's, I mean, when
It's
you're a
still
kid, it's
more
probably
impressive.
freaking
Like
you out.
watching this movie, you know, having not seen this movie in a long time, but watching it now, I'm still like, that's really impressive. Just all the work you think of that went into making this movie. Whereas if they made this movie now, like I know they're making a Netflix series and they're going to do the
Yeah.
practical effects, but
I
if they
wonder.
made an actual movie of this now, it'd all be CGI. Like the whole thing, every character would be CGI. And it's just not.
I wouldn't like that.
Would it
It's
be
not-
cool though, told in that way?
No. I think I like the authenticity of animatronics
Yeah.
and puppeteering because I feel like people don't do that
It's lost
these
art.
days. Yeah.
The thing I never really checked. I don't know. I haven't really talked to a lot of younger kids nowadays, but like, I guess I should, you know, ask my, nieces and nephews. Like, do you think movies that have puppets, is that cheesy or is that cool? Like when you watch that as a kid now,
Yeah, it's kind of
because
interesting.
you're so used to seeing CGI.
Because when I watch movies from like the 40s, 50s, like, and I see,
Like stop motion stuff
Well,
or something.
yeah.
like that.
I
You're
well,
kind of like
okay,
"Ugh,"
when I
like-
see like someone like Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly like tap dance, I can appreciate it because it's a lost art.
Right.
But back in the day, like that was what they would do to like razzle dazzle people, like who would go to. No,
This movie's got a lot of razzmatazz.
Razzle-dazzle.
It's the bee's knees. You hear?
but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. yeah.
Like that was what
For sure,
Holly,
yeah.
that's what Hollywood was pushing.
Yeah.
Like that would be like they would bring in these great talented like
Yeah.
tap
Yeah.
dancers and they would do these great elaborate dance
Oh yeah.
scenes.
And no one is more talented or was more talented back then to, you know, puppets and special effects than Jim Henson.
Right.
But
These
what,
are-
what I'm saying is like to bring up your point of like talking to your niece and nephews. When I look back on those old Hollywood movies, I appreciate them.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that's really amazing. Like
Yeah.
that is a lost art.
Yeah.
That is an unbelievable talent.
I
they
wonder
have.
if younger kids
like see Jim Henson puppetry and they're
Right.
like, wow.
do
Like,
they think that's cool or is it just like a cheesy thing to kids now? Like, oh,
like even when I see like the dancing, I'm like, it's cheesy, but I can appreciate it.
right.
Like I definitely think it's
Right.
cheesy.
Well, it's like puppeteering on steroids because there's just so many
Yeah.
more details added to it than just a regular.
This was near the end of Jim Henson's life because I think when did
He died in 95,
No, it was earlier. It was like 91.
3 or
It was like 1990 or 91. I don't know. We didn't check, but I think this was 88.
8. So
And I
you
think
the last movie he worked on was Ninja Turtles.
I think that's the last movie
Oh.
I think that's the last movie he worked on as special effects and stuff and actually saw to completion.
Yeah.
Because I remember in the beginning of Ninja Turtles 2, it says dedicated to Jim Henson at the beginning. And that
Oh,
was
that's right.
Yeah, because Ninja Turtles was 90 and Turtles 2 was 91. I think. I don't know. I'm not.
Okay, so this probably
So this was
this
definitely
was probably the first like puppetry, like the last puppetry.
right. This was near the end of his life. But when was the Labyrinth? What year was that?
That was 80.
80.
I'm not sure.
82? No, I might be
It was
totally
before
wrong.
Dark Crystal.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was
Dark
before.
Crystal.
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what the. Sorry, I was looking.
And fun
I
fact,
seen that the date was on
fun
that.
fact, we
DVD.
didn't know this. George Lucas executive produced
Yeah, I had no idea.
Labyrinth.
I had no
Oh, I
idea.
didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So definitely a lot of heavy hitters from
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. You know, Star Wars, Jim Henson, Muppets. They're all connected now through Disney.
Yeah,
Back in
yeah.
the day, they weren't. But still, cool movie. Glad to watch it. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It was freaky.
You guys like this movie? Obviously, you think it's a good movie. Would you recommend for someone who's never seen The Dark Crystal? Would you say you need to watch this movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, you definitely need to experience
definitely
it.
need to, especially if it's getting revamped and relaunched. Yeah, definitely watch it.
When is that supposed to happen? Like when is that?
Oh, it's a ways away, so I'm gonna say probably a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely say that it's worth watching for just the, visual effects and then
It's pretty incredible.
just the history to keep the memory of Jim Henson alive and his amazing work with this movie. And one thing I noticed that this title, Joel is a big fan of the font of the Dark Crystal because he used it for his band's
It's true.
his band Wake the Trees. He made their logo in the Dark Crystal font. But it reminds me, when I see
looks
this font right here, it reminds me of the Pirates of Dark Water, which
Yes. Yeah.
nobody remembers except you
I
remembered
do
it.
remember
Do you know
it.
what
I
I'm
didn't look
talking
it up,
about?
but I remember
No,
it.
I don't.
If you don't know what the Pirates of Dark Water is, look it up. It's an awesome 1990s cartoon from Hanna-Barbera. And just check it out. It's awesome. Anyways, thanks for sticking around and watching our review. We'll be back. We're going to do another review soon. I think we might be doing The Labyrinth. What are some other ones we're going to talk about doing? We're going to do
Legend.
Legend.
We're kind of on like a fantasy sword and sorcery kick lately, so we'll be back next time with another one. So thanks for watching the Jacob System podcast. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.